Got the old 7-iron, clean the face. Using these crappy range balls. For one, you really gotta hit them pure, hard as a rock. Pro V1, range ball. Look at the bounce. Pro V goes up there, range ball. Anyway, they're rock hard and they leave awesome imprints on the club face. So you got to strike them pure and it shows you exactly where you hit it, you know, without having to bust out the athlete's foot spray. All right. Golf swing is just an orchestra of moving parts. It's a dance. It's not just back and through, it's very much a dance. Your lower body needs to know what to do so you can kind of generate speed and use the ground to kind of explode through the ball. Yes, you need that. Your upper body needs to be working together, timed. You need the proper amount of lateral movement and rotation. You want your spine angle throughout the swing to remain fairly constant. You don't want to be straightening up, extending. The swing plane, there's a certain slot essentially in this 3/4-ish way back. The shaft, the butt of the grip there is pointing at the ball. You know, it's not too flat. It's not too inside the ball. And now you want to get your hips moving kind of right as your club's getting to the top. Your hips are already kind of getting a head start on their part of the downswing so they can start to clear. And you're just coming down. And a thought I've always liked is the back of the hosel here, not square with the club face, but if you were to slice kind of through the air and then the face squares, I've always liked the feeling of there was a log right here in back of me and I was trying to, this is an axe. This is actually a Malaska move, Mike Malaska, great golf teacher. Like driving an axe into a stump behind me. You know, I'm not gonna wanna get way from the inside and stuck. I'm not gonna wanna get my shoulders moving too much over it. I'm gonna, you know, boom, be driving that axe into that log. But of course, we're hitting a golf ball, not swinging into a stump, so all your power and energy is stored till then. You don't want to get early with the hands. You fire through. And that combined with a lot of practice to hone your hand-eye coordination and some other basic fundamentals, you got the golf swing. That was all right. Wasn't the most pure, but out the middle. Hit some more. It felt solid, I just didn't take a divot. I had to try to very intentionally take a divot off the mats because they give me a habit of picking them clean. All right, nice little bacon strip divot with this one. Much better. Basically the same spot as the first one. Center strike, one on top of the other. Like I said though, those balls leave a really good ball mark. You can really see where the strike is. Yeah, gotta find that slot. I hear a lot of people online, a lot of, you know, YouTube pros or whatever, they preach too much of trying to get this club flat, stuck behind you, overly laid off. And yes, sometimes that feel of kind of getting the club a little behind you is good for some players that maybe come way across it. But really what the issue is their shoulders, and they're opening their shoulders up and trying to force the club back, and they're still not coming from the inside. Because the golf swing, your arms and your hands really aren't going too far from the center of your chest. Like when I'm turned back all the way, if I were to straighten up and go forward, that's as far as my hands have gone. I've really only done that and turned my shoulders. So But what most people are doing, they're moving their arms and their hands so far from their body, nothing's connected, and they're trying to time things up, and it's just all out of sequence. They're just using everything incorrectly. You really, from footwork to hip work, lower body work, you need to kind of rotate around your spine. I know I'm throwing a lot of information. There's a lot of things you need to do correctly in the golf swing. And you should have a firm understanding of those basic concepts. But then at the same time, you need to keep things very simple. And something I've always liked was, you see Rory McIlroy kind of doing this exaggerated feel move of keeping his shoulders close to the target. His hands are kind of dropping down from the inside, but he's not letting the club just drop in back of him. It's exaggerated a little bit, and what that's going to do is keep his arms and the club and his body connected and not getting too separated. Jack Nicklaus used to talk about trying to, like, when you get to your the top of your backswing, your back's essentially facing the target, he would feel like he kept his back facing the target. He didn't feel a lot in his lower body, but if you watch, he certainly had a lot of leg action. But his lower body would kind of start things, and he felt like he kept the buttons on his shirt at the ball at impact. And he could really drive through it with not a lot of arm movement. It's just a big chest turn. If I just turn my chest, I've only gone that far. That's all you need to be doing with your arms in the golf swing, is that little move there. It just doesn't have to be right off the ball. In fact, more of a passive takeaway. If you were to imagine a line from your golf ball straight back, just try to follow that as long as you can. Get a nice wide takeaway. And when you get to the top, your hips, right as you're getting to the top, your hips have already begun their section of the downswing, and they're beginning to pull your upper body down, allowing momentum and gravity to just start to create all this momentum and force you're about to unleash on the golf ball. And then when you get kind of right back here, and you just got to make this little bit of an arm movement that you made in your swing, you can drive through it. You don't need to open your shoulders up. You don't need to try to manipulate the club a bunch with your hands. It's just letting the natural forces of everything work together. And, some good old-fashioned hand-eye coordination. That wasn't the greatest. Definitely caught that one here toey. Yeah, a little toey on that. Would have played all right. Maybe would have been a touch left. Redemption ball. Much better. That was where the other few were. Right in the middle. Here, I'm going to clean this off so we can see some fresh ball strike patterns. Remember, the golf swing is unique, so your swing's going to be your own, and you need to. It shouldn't be a lot of effort and a lot of bending and twisting, and really what the greatest players, what pros are doing, is using less of their body and creating less wear and tear on their body than what most amateurs are doing. Because like I said, it's very little arm movement. They're not twisting their back, getting like crazy. Some of the young kids that are really kind of unnecessarily getting a lot of twist in their spine, which you don't need. And you're gonna have a little bit of separation, but any kind of contorting of the body is not required to generate club head speed at all. These 7 irons, I play old school lofts. 7 iron now, those are probably going about $1.75, $1.80. In the air, not, you know, I mean, they don't go very far after you. And that last one, in the middle. But $1.75, $1.80. Shortcut. That was a Healy. Had one toey, one little Healy. But I'm not gonna edit videos or try to film this again because I hit a couple of poor shots. It's all right. Come and get some on the golf course. That was absolutely smoked. That one was center. See the Healy one down there, and then the center strike. Clean the face again. Like I said, those range balls leave really nice imprints. They just wipe right off. Get a good foundation of the golf swing. Understand grip, alignment, and the new ball, or the new laws of ball flights. Basically what makes the ball curve, the different types of spin. Really, the ball's gonna start at impact wherever your face is pointing. Basically, the ball is gonna start where the face is pointing. And if the club path is dead straight with where that face is aiming, it's a straight shot for a right-handed player. If the club face is swinging more out to the right, into out as they say, and your face is aimed straight, the ball is going to start straight and hook left. So for a draw, your face should be pointed a little right at target, and your swing path needs to be coming more from the inside. That's why it's so important to, if you're trying to, hook the ball or play a draw through the wind, don't be afraid to close your stance a little bit and hood your club face just a touch. Just out to the right. And I didn't try to overly close my club face because, like I said, the ball is going to start where your club face is pointing. So if you're going to draw a ball to a target, it needs to start out to the right. So your club face, if you want to hit it 5-10 yards to the right of the pin, needs to be roughly there through the ball. And your swing path needs to be probably 15-20 yards out to the right. If your club face is 5 to 10, swing path 15-20 yards out to the right. And that should create a nice draw. Starts out 7.5 yards right of the hole and draws right back. Slam dunk. Just the opposite with a fade. To hit a proper fade, your club face needs to be left of target through impact, and your club path even further left of that. What I always do on the course is I pick an intermediate target where I'm going to line up old Jack Nicklaus tip. Line my club face up to that, playing a fade so left, and then line my feet, hips, shoulders, everything up there. I might feel like my body gets through a little bit earlier just to leave things open if I'm really trying to move it, but just a baby fade, you don't really need that. Just trying to almost come over the top from the inside. It's not shoulders, but so let me make a little correction. When I am fading it, I feel like my shoulders open a little bit more through impact, just to kind of get my club face and everything left, because to bring it back to the right, you need everything to the left. To bring it from the right, or bring it back to the left, you need everything out to the right. It's a game of opposites. All right, so nice little cut. Usually have a little Arnold Palmer finish with the cut. Wasn't the best strike. Hair heavy, a little high on the face. And a little Healy. I haven't been hitting a lot of those big fades. You try that again. That's the first time I've tried a fade in a while. It's been hitting straight balls. There it is. That one was centered. That ball is probably cracked there. There's a big chunk coming out of it. There. Yeah. Right on the worn out stuff. Give this another clean. But yeah. Remember, this is really all the golf swing is this much movement. What you're doing is you're not moving your arms to begin with. You're turning your chest, letting your hips open and getting all your weight back. So this triangle your arms and your chest create, you're basically trying to keep that triangle from collapsing as long as you can by kind of starting everything with that. Then at the top it collapses a little bit. So your hips start to pull everything down. Then everything can kind of, your hands can come down from the inside, and then your club, you want to get it right here so we can come back and deliver the club face to the ball. Big mistake is hanging on to it too much. I mean, that's an exaggerated move, but trying to come from the inside, because you're supposed to come from the inside. You hit a draw trying to come from the inside, but you get stuck and everything's just out to the right, or you snap hook it. That's why it's important to be on plane, not too far under the plane flat. So that's why, again, I'll reiterate why I see some players like Rory McIlroy kind of practice this impact position. Because yes, you don't want your shoulders and everything to open and come from over the top, but this move that a lot of people preach is not good. I've been really liking that feeling lately, that old Jack Nicklaus feeling of keeping your buttons over the golf ball through impact. So I have a habit of getting everything, too far ahead and stuck there. And if you time it correctly, you don't need to close the face as much. Like I said, you can really feel like you're just driving an axe into a stump, basically directly behind you, about middle between your toes and your ball, about right there. My body's gonna, if somebody offered me money, I just heard this on a video, to drive an axe into a log as far as I could there, you know what I mean, from the golf position, you wouldn't be getting your body way out in front to drive an axe like this. That's why it's important to stay connected, and you don't want to try to leave everything behind you and laid off and stuck. You need to stay connected. It's a lot. The thing is, the golf swing is a complicated dynamic motion. There's a lot of different aspects, like footwork. You really want to avoid your foot kind of coming up and out until after impact. And you might say there's a lot of great players like Justin Thomas, where his foot raises off the ground before impact. What he's doing is really, it's more of his heel might be coming up, but it's like his heel is coming towards his other heel this way for a brief moment, strikes the ball, and then when he's coming through, it comes up and around. The mistake is it's already coming up, and watch what happens if it just shifts everything that way. Especially with wedges, irons, it's a good feel to kind of just feel like you're just getting your weight to the inside there and keeping your foot down through impact. I believe that to be the best, especially with an iron. Trying to keep my foot down until impact and then letting it come up right after I hit the ball.